Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Tuesday, August 18th. And you can see temperatures this morning in the mid to upper 60s across most of the area, and dew points up there as well into the mid 60s. So a pretty humid morning out there. We got an area of showers and thunder showers across southern Wisconsin into northern Illinois. That's going to be moving into the area, especially I think from areas from around Muskegon to Bay City off to the south, and particular areas around Lansing, Charlotte, Jackson, or towards Flint. I think a pretty good area of showers and thunderstorms will move through you guys' area here over the next several hours. And notice we got an area for video here. If you capture any interesting weather video, storm damage, hail, whatever, if you send it to me or upload it to YouTube and send me the link, I'd be glad to post it here on our site. Always like to get pictures and videos from any of our viewers out there. If we take a look at the next slide, you can see a decent looking start to the day over in Middleton. Again, we expect temperatures climb into the upper 70s to low 80s for a pretty nice summer day. And if we look at the forecast map here for later today, our strong storm center that's going to develop across the southern plains is going to move northeast towards western Lake Superior, and that's going to take the very heaviest and strongest storms off to our west across the Corn Belt up into the upper Midwest, where they could see quite a bit of rainfall and severe weather today. Notice the stationary front. We do have a weak wave of low pressure across southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. It's going to move up into north central lower Michigan, and that's going to drag those showers and thunderstorms that it's associated with up into the area here. And you can see that on radar right now across southern Lake Michigan, now moving into southwest lower Michigan. And again, I think the areas, especially around the Lansing, Jackson, Charlotte, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids area, have a pretty good chance of showers and thunderstorms. And anywhere from Bay City back to Muskegon, I think from there south has the best chance of seeing the most rain this morning with this batch. If we take a look at the Great Lakes expanded view, you can see kind of a circular pattern to the low-level winds, and that's indicating that surface low that's going to be moving to the northeast, spreading that storms into the area. And if we look at the forecast map for later tomorrow, you can see our strong storm now heading towards western Lake Superior, and we expect a pretty good area of showers and thunderstorms to develop along that front, and they could be marginally severe. And again, that risk of severe storms has been lessened by the Storm Prediction Center, as they feel overnight rain and clouds may have a hard time scattering out tomorrow, and thus we don't expect to become nearly as unstable as what it looked like yesterday. But still, we're going to want to keep an eye on this. If we do get breaks in the clouds and have some dry periods here tomorrow morning, we could once again see a higher risk of severe storms. If we take a look at the next slide, you can see where the Storm Prediction Center has that marginal risk of severe storms for all the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley back into the Tennessee Valley. And if we look at the precipitation amounts, kind of an interesting look to this. You can see much like a winter storm, as that storm tracks up towards Lake Superior, you can see much like a winter storm, the heavier precipitation will fall along into the northwest of the track, much like a deformation type area. And then you can actually even see kind of a drier slot of precipitation, lesser amounts across western lower Michigan back into Illinois. And then the heavier as you get off to the east, that's all this precipitation and moisture being pulled north out of the Gulf and thrown back into this storm. And I think just to the east of where the driest amount of precipitation is, where you'd have your highest chance, I think, for severe storms, which in this case would be, I think, across the eastern portion of the Great Lakes. But again, right now the Storm Prediction Center has lowered that risk to marginal. And hey, look at this. We're actually a little bit above normal for the month of August now, 0.4. Over the next couple of days, we could see that increase just a little bit more, but cooler air next week will probably make things settle back down to near normal, or once again maybe slightly below normal again. But I think as we get to the end of August, the last week or so, I think we have a chance of getting quite warm. The GFS model, the US model, is kind of out to lunch. It just is a terrible model at that day 10, 12 area compared to the European model. But we expect ridging to develop across the Great Lakes, and that could really allow for some pretty warm air compared to normal as we finish out the month of August and start September. And if we look at the growing degree days, this is from the Breckenridge area. You can see we continue to distance ourselves from some of these colder years. You can see in red, this is last year in red. We are certainly gaining ground on that. And then, of course, the 2009 year in blue, and then the terrible year of 1992 And you can see how this, we'll show you a slide here in just a second that indicate just how bad 1992 was. First of all, look at the surface temperatures. You can see our strong El Nino. This is a forecast for September. Notice the very warm Gulf waters up the Gulf of Alaska and down through Baja California, and that could have implications to this upcoming winter. And if we take a look at the El Nino, what is normally typical of a strong El Nino, you can see warmer and drier conditions across much of the northern United States with the very active southern jet. And we'll talk about why this may not be the case completely. I do expect things to be a little bit warmer, certainly, than the last 2 years, but not necessarily warmer and drier. But I think we will be a little bit warmer. I think we have a good chance of being close to normal. We'll talk about that Thursday up in Newaygo, customer appreciation hog roast up there, and I'll be talking about what we could expect for the fall weather pattern and what we might look at for winter, and more importantly for next spring for planting, and what kind of a growing season we might be looking at in 2016. Again, I'll be up in Newaygo on Thursday for that. And if we look at the growing degree days compared to the last 20 growing seasons here in Breckenridge, we're right about in the middle of the pack. And then again, if we look at that very unusual year of 1992 and what a disastrous year that was, you notice how our chart ends quite early. That's because in addition to having just a lousy growing degree day summer and a late planting season, we also had a early killing freeze, which certainly spelled lots of disastrous corn around this area with test weights almost all in the 40s. In fact, here we shipped up almost 250,000 bushel out of southern Indiana to get our test weights up to be able to load trains. So hopefully we never repeat that again. But right now we're in pretty good shape. Thanks for stopping by and have a great day, and 73s to all.